prepare yourselves for what will be a presentation, certainly, that I would find memorable, and that others may as well. In fact, some of you may even find the memories so shocking you will need to see a therapist. But since we're all here, and since some of you are recording this on your phones, this is my presentation. It is geared mostly for the juniors. Seniors, there's not much you're going to gain from this other than a good time. All right. So juniors, how many of you have experienced a toy problem before? Okay, we have one person. Can you explain what a toy problem is? Too slow. All right, let's go on. So what is a toy problem? A toy problem is not the problems faced by the cast of Toy Story 3. Those were indeed dire and trying times, and that scene where they're about to go into the dumpster, heartbreaking. But no, that's not what we're talking about. It is not that your friends find you weird for liking My Little Pony. That's in fact the problem with society. But it is not a toy problem, even though it is involving toys, and it's a problem. Toy problems are mental coding exercises to teach you how to think about code. Or at least that's not the actual definition. You probably have the actual definition. I'm making this shit up. They're also the same types of problems you'll be expected to solve on a whiteboard when the pressure's on at an interview. So you're going to be doing a lot of toy problems. You're going to be doing them every day. You're not doing a self-assessment from now until your halfway point when you become seniors. So here's some toy problem examples. You could find all possible anagrams of a string. You can sort a string's character in descending order by frequency, ascending order alphabetically. Find the first item that occurs in an even number of times in an array. Longest palindrome in a string. That was a fun one. I put in the entire Weird Al Yankovic song Bob in there. So it turns out Rats Live On No Evil Star is the longest palindrome in Bob, the song by Weird Al Yankovic. Check to see that a 9x9 string of digits is or is not a proper Sudoku solution. Challenging, but it's doable. This is one of the most interesting toy problems I've ever had to face in my short time as a student at MakerSquare. It's also, I think, one of the most interesting because of its nature. And that nature is that given a number n is greater than 1, write a function that returns the nth number in the look and say sequence as a string. So with an input of 1, you get 1. With an input of 2, you get 11. Bit odd. Input of 3, you get 21. Input of 4, you get 1,211. Input of 5, 111,221. And 6, 312,211. Now, when I first looked at this, I said to myself, what? But that's the beauty of a toy problem. If you could think of the solution just off of your head, it's not much of a problem. These are going to challenge you to think in ways you haven't before and allow you to really exercise those neural muscles in your mind. So here's how you're going to solve this. You're going to identify what exactly the problem is asking you to do. We haven't done that yet. We're still looking at it going, whack, and it takes a while, but eventually you do see the pattern. It's a look and say sequence. The input's 1. It looks like 1, so we just say 1. So the next thing we do is take this output, and we say it out loud. Hey, that's 1, 1. And as you can see, number 2 there, that's 1, 1. I mean, it is. That's 1, 1. So that's 1, 1. And since this is 2 1s, this is 2 1s. And this is 1, 1, and 1, 2, and 1, 1. So this is 1, 2, and 1, 1. And so on and so forth. So we have the problem. we need to basically continue this solution forward to whatever number has been given to us. Coming up with a plan. Also a hard part of the problem, but sometimes, in this case, sometimes it's easier than actually finding out what the toy problem is asking you to do. So if we were to come up with a plan for how to solve this, how to write a function that does this, well, we just explained out loud, well, by we, I mean I. By I mean the many voices in my head that conglomerate and form the gestalt consciousness that I call my identity. But we, or I, have already defined this, so let's think about that. Let's take, like, 1, 2, 1, 1, which we know is the fourth number in the sequence that was given to us. Okay? So how would you parse that if you were a computer? Now remember, all computers are 5-year-olds. Very brilliant, but dumb 5-year-olds. So you got to tell them exactly what you want them to do. And the way you would parse this, in my opinion, and there are many different solutions to this problem, and any problem, but the way I solved it was I took the first number and compared it to the second. And if the first and second numbers were different, we knew we had an end of a sequence of the same character. So since 1 and 2 are separate, we know that there's only one, so we have a counter and a digit value. The counter basically counts how many repetitions of 1 there are. If this was 1, 1, 2, it would increment 1 more and you'd have 2. But instead it's 1, so it's 1. I know this sounds like double talk. I'm getting there. I know how it's said. So 1 and 2 are, so the first thing we realized is that counter is 1. Okay, so we stopped here. This is where we found a non-matching number. So we take the value right here, and that's our digit value. And then we just add on to our output the counter value followed by the digit value.
Brian, can you use another marker?
I could, but that would be the easy way. So we have 1, 1. I have an abundance of markers. Thank you. See, this is what you should do. If you see your cohort, if someone in your cohort is struggling with something, help them out. We're all here in this together. So with 1, 1, 1, like wrote 1, 1, 1, 1, which I didn't want to do, but okay. With 1, 1, we now go on to the next pair here, 2, 1. Well, as it turns out, 2 is different from 1, so we don't increment the counter. We do increment the value, though. Well, not increment, but we just take this value here, 2, and the counter is 1, the number is 2. And now we go to this third pairing. Here we have the same number, so we increment the counter. This is now 2. The value, and if there was like another 1 here, we increment the counter again. So if this was 1, 1, we'd increment the 3, but it's not. So it's 1, 1, so it's 2, 1. And if you teach the computer to think like this, either in recursion or a for loop or however you want to do it, you will eventually get at the right answer for every number just by stepping through, finding the solution for the previous number, and then going to the next one. And that's how you basically do it. So once you do that, you write out pseudocode, which is essentially your plan. Everything I just said here is your plan. And, well, no, it's my plan, but you'll come up with your own plan. And the idea is that with the pseudocode, you can start organizing how you want to approach the problem in code. And then finally, code and don't panic. I think I have about a 50% success rate with toy problems. You're only given an hour. You haven't experienced these before. They're hard. Don't feel bad about yourself if you don't get it. And don't feel good about yourself if you do get them, because some of those tests don't actually work. And they'll give you, hey, you solved the problem when you didn't. And you won't realize that until you see other people's solutions, which you will. And you'll learn from them. You'll have a great time. Okay. Handling stress. Dan, define it. Look, we have all signed up for 80 hours a week of grueling, crazy-making programming. We don't get weekends, we get Sundays. And because we have to do laundry and things like that, we don't really have a whole lot of time to stop and reflect on the nature of this absurdity of reality, which we must transcend in order to stay sane. I don't know how to handle stress. But what I do know, as in the words of Bill Murray, we joined it. First of all, I also don't know how to order my slides correctly. So in the words of Bill Murray, there's something wrong with us, something very, very wrong with us. Accepting your inevitable mental breakdown. It will happen, some of you, sooner than others. For me, it was around the time I approached this toy problem. Around week 5. When you do get frustrated, feel free to get up and step away from the computer. The problem will still be there, and your marbles might not be if you stay. Feel free to get up and walk. In fact, stepping away from the problem might be the fastest way to get to a solution. If you need to take a walk, just do it. Speaking of walking, exercise. Look, I know I'm the fattest guy here. But even I try to walk 20 minutes a day, just to get the blood flowing, just to get the heart racing just a little bit. I'm not going to go to Gold's Gym and lift weights like some of my friends here, although if you do that, that's great, you should do that. But, that makes a huge difference. When I don't exercise, I feel crappy. And when I say exercise, I mean literally walking to the block and back. I'm not talking like huge hours spent on a treadmill, although if you want one, there's one downstairs in the fitness room, which you will have access to eventually as soon as those cards get in for Beyond Me. By week 5, I myself was on verge of insanity. And it was manifesting in my code. For example, this is my week 5 look and say solution. It is the solution that I was just describing up here. And if you didn't follow along, that's okay. I'm going to explain it to you now. And as you can see, I have the comments here. So, would you like to build a function that returns a string? We check to see how many nums and say the num, and if they are the same. If they are, we take this and increment, else digit is the caret I. Would you like to build a function? A for loop, not a recursive function. Okay, bye. Would you like to have an output? Have an output as a string. Say, ain't it? And now we're going to iterate. Say, ain't it great? We can count up to the thing. Here we have our edge case. When I is 1 and build from there to the sky, then we iterate the output. A stringy super awesome output.